Shalom, call hello. Fellow brothers, I'll push the word of truth and in sincerity. The Hope of Light Tabernacle of David. And the brother Yahshua back with the WW3 Daily update. Shalom and salutation to you as well. We'll start right here at I 3 and 2. I will gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. Okay. I is talking about the Most High Yahweh. Going to gather all nations. If you read this in the NIV or the NLT Slovakia, it says, I will gather the Yehoshaphat or Dina Amelia Kalmeta. Today, Iran threatens Israel, Greece targets Turkish. Much every theater except for the Korean Peninsula, which could qualify as the South China Sea. But let's listen to Dina. We'll let her give us the update. We might not watch all of it, but we'll see.
Welcome back again, everyone. It's Dina Kalmeta here, and for today's show, I do have some headlines I'd like to share with you that have occurred in the last few days. And I'd like to start with China today. It is being reported that Taiwan's defense ministry said it had detected 23 Chinese aircraft and 8 Chinese ships. It said 7 of the Chinese aircraft crossed the median. Threatened that it's ready to defeat any provocation, just as 2 U.S. Navy warships also sailed through the international waters in the Taiwan Strait. The 2 warships sailed through the waters on August 28th in the first such operation since a visit to Taiwan by Nancy Pelosi. The U.S. Navy said that their cruisers were carrying out an ongoing operation, and such movements usually take closely monitored by China's military. The U.S. Navy added that the operation demonstrates the United States' commitment to a free and open. It was following the ships and warning them at the time. It also said in a statement that troops in the theater remain on high alert and are ready to thwart any provocation at any time. It goes on further to report that experts are warning that World War III is an ever-growing threat as the U.S. and China near a dangerous situation over Taiwan. U.S. lawmakers have followed in the footsteps of Nancy Pelosi in visiting Taiwan as China continues to threaten the island. Senator Marsha Blackburn said that she will not let China prevent her from visiting Taiwan. She said that Taiwan is our strongest partner in the Indo-Pacific region. Regular high-level visits to Taipei are a long-standing U.S. policy. She went on to conclude that I will not be bullied by communist China into turning my back on the island. Kristen Guinness, an expert on the Chinese military, told the Financial Times that hostility between Washington and Beijing is leading to a dangerous situation. She stated that China's presence in the waters and airspace around Taiwan demonstrates that they can control it if they wish to. It is a dangerous time in terms of potential for escalation when you have a normalized PLA, Chinese military presence, that could potentially restrict freedom of operations and freedom of movement, which is key to U.S. objective. And Ashley Townsend, senior fellow at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace think tank, warns that the U.S. and Taiwan are now at a disadvantage. And this is because China is more willing to escalate while the U.S. wants to keep the situation calm, she argued. She went on to state that the status quo has been reset in ways less favorable to the U.S. and Taiwan, and there are no good options for the U.S. to respond to this. And like all status quo players, if you play responsibly and your adversary is willing to escalate, you lose the round. In the meantime, North Dakota residents are fighting a Chinese company that wants to build a corn mill near a United States Air Force base. The Fufeng Group, which has ties to the Chinese Communist Party, purchased 370 acres for a proposed $700 million corn mill. It will be located about 12 miles from the Grand Forks Air Force Base. A Grand Forks resident is working with a legal team that is gathering signatures on a petition to put the Fufeng corn mill to a vote, stating to a news outlet that in terms of Grand Forks, its water use, pollution, and smell, in terms of national, it is a security. Everyone should be worried nationally about the security issues as well as locally. The project has also caught the attention of lawmakers in Washington, with Senator John Hoeven stating that because of security concerns, it'd be better to find some other company to work with on the ag part. Senator Mike Rounds introduced a law blacklisting China and other countries antagonistic to the U.S. from purchasing or acquiring agricultural businesses or land in America. Mr. Round said in a statement that as a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, I was alarmed when a Chinese company recently purchased farmland near an Air Force base in North Dakota. This acquisition could threaten our national security by allowing the Chinese Communist Party to closely monitor the operations and communications at a very important military facility. So this is obviously a very threatening situation. Why is the Communist Chinese Party buying land in America next to a United States Air Force base? Nothing good can come from this. And this isn't the first time we've heard of this. I have brought you guys reports in the past, whereas China has bought other agricultural land in the U.S. This could only be for nefarious reasons. And why are we allowing it? Why wasn't the U.S. government on top of this? So this is certainly something to keep our eye on, as well as what's happening in the Taiwan Strait. We have to also remember that China is buddies with Russia, who will be holding war games with Russia and India and Laos and Mongolia and Nicaragua and Syria. This is going to kick off September 1st and go through the 7th. It will involve more than 50,000 troops, over 5,000 weapons units, including 140 aircraft and 60 warships. The Russian ministry said that units of Russian airborne troops, long-range bombers, and military cargo planes will take part in the drills along with the other forces. It is also noted, as part of the maneuvers, the Russian and Chinese navies in the Sea of Japan will practice joint action to protect sea communications, areas of marine economic activity, and support for ground troops in littoral areas. Now, this, of course, is just a really quick update in regards to these exercises because I did report on it last week. But for anybody that hadn't heard that report, there you have it. In the meantime, speaking of Russia, the size of the Russian military is set to increase to 1.15 million troops by next year. The decree, published on the government's website, adds 130,000 to the ranks of the armed forces from January 1st, 2023. It also instructs the cabinet to allocate the necessary funds for the expansion. With that being said, the U.S. is accelerating production of the High Mobility Artillery Rocket Systems, or HIMARS, in order to help Ukraine, according to a Pentagon official. The Pentagon has signed a $182 million deal with U.S. arms manufacturer Raytheon to produce the surface-to-air missile systems for the Ukrainian military. The work on short and medium-range air defense weaponry will be currently picked up that they were in the crosshairs of a weapon as they flew at an altitude of 3,000 meters and to the west of the islands of Rhodes. Greek media denounced the Turkish mission as a provocation, arguing that Turkey was trying to reveal the S-300 position on Crete. While the aircraft completed their mission and returned safely to their bases, such actions are considered hostile under NATO rules of engagement. It described the incident as incompatible with the spirit of the alliance, given that both Turkey and Greece are members of the military alliance. The state news agency reporting that local forces were confronting hostile targets. The agency also said that the airstrike was an Israeli attack. In the meantime, speaking of Israel, it is being reported that Israeli Prime Minister Lapid has been frustrated with the inability to get Joe Biden on the phone. Israel's intelligence chief is headed to Washington this week to discuss Biden's designs on a new nuclear deal with Iran. Mossad chief David Barnea, who is hawkish against Iran becoming a nuclear power, will meet with the Senate and House Intelligence Committees, according to the Jerusalem Post. With that said, Lapid has not spoken with Biden or Secretary of State Antony Blinken for weeks. Lapid echoed the U.S.'s call for a longer and stronger nuclear deal with Iran on Sunday, with the caveat that a bad deal is worse than no deal. Such an agreement, he said, can only be reached with a credible military threat, so that Iranians see that they will have to pay a heavy price for their recalcitrance.
All right, so that's some old peace and safety type stuff right there. And we all know what happens when they show say peace and safety. So we'll end it right here. As you can see, this war ain't going nowhere. All right, where's Joel? This is Joel 3 and 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares and your swords and your pruning hooks and your spears, let the weak say I'm strong. This is going nowhere. I mean, if it's going anywhere, it's escalating into what will be known as World War III, Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe meaning World War II, is past. And behold, World War III cometh quickly. Right, so with that, we hope that the elect are edified. This is a quick update on Monday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hope that the electorate have 5 brothers and few sisters. Shalom.